So Serie A. So it was a pretty eventful week in Serie A. You had a big clash. What do you say? Uh, the Derby d'Italia. So Juventus versus Inter Milan. So it was a pretty controversial game. Lots of things are happening. Two red cards. I don't know. Like the refereeing was like too harsh, maybe like both the teams. So Juventus were desperate because they had to win this game, otherwise they are confirmed playing in the Europa League. So they went with everything, and this is the first time I think we've seen some sort of a fight from Juventus trying to go for it because they were up against their back. And yeah, so they opened the scoring through Cristiano Ronaldo, and what do you call? This match is peculiar because despite winning the penalty, Ronaldo didn't take the penalty. So that was actually weird to see first time. So he allowed the guy who won the penalty to take Juan Cuadrado, and it was what do you call? Ronaldo scored first. Lukaku equalized with another penalty, and again next Juan Cuadrado converted again, and next Chiellini's
Own
own
goal,
goal
yeah.
brought Inter back in. Yeah, and in the 88th minute, Juventus got the penalty we were talking about. And I think beyond that, it was too hard to come back for Inter because they were already down to 10 men. After that, like 19 plus 2, Marcelo Brozovic was sent off. Yeah, a bit of an unnecessary thing. And yeah, this game for Inter, maybe it's just for bragging rights, like who's the top dog here. Uh, but for Juventus, I think they had to give everything, and it's
It
good to
was a
see that from
must-win game
Juventus,
because
something they've been lacking throughout this.
yeah, it was a must-win game
Yeah.
because Juventus has players like Ronaldo, Dybala, and all, and they have huge salaries. So you need the cash that comes from Champions League to pay for these players. So they had to win it,
Definitely.
and like I don't watch the games, I just watch the highlights and the extended highlights. So I don't know the exact intensity which they played, but I saw the goals, and it was a good game overall. And like Juventus were desperate because you could see the number of shots they were taking. Like every opportunity they got, they're like, let's go, let's go, let's go, and it reflected. And eventually they managed to hold on to win. And like the tour, I agree with Jitu in saying that maybe the refereeing was a bit too harsh, but then it's a big game, so things like that keep happening. Yes, Jitu, next game.
Yeah. So the next game is also an important game. There's actually a lot of games in this, and we have to compress. So Napoli versus Fiorentina was a good game, and I think on winning that, Napoli pretty much are in pole position to seal their fate in the upcoming next Champions League. So hats off to them. They had a late resurgence. They were a bit down at the beginning of the season, and they've come back very strongly. And now they're ahead of Milan, and they're actually in third position right now. And it's very highly unlikely that they'll slip from there. And moving on to the one of the most important rivalries, I'd say the Derby del Capitale, if I'm not wrong. I've recently only learned the name, so it's Roma versus Lazio. Crucial game for both teams. Very crucial game. Roma is still in the hunt for a possible Europa League position, even though it's very far ahead. But yeah, and you can say bragging rights to the city. So it's still much harder for Roma because they're still 6 points behind Lazio, who are actually at sixth. And yeah, it was actually a pretty much dominant game. And Edin Dzeko was the star of that game. He's still doing it. Brilliant work he's doing. I think the first goal, the way he brought control the ball was going out. So much grit and determination he showed, and you look at his age, it's brilliant. and he's been playing for so long for Roma, and he's one of the most underrated players, you'd say. He's such a hard-working guy, and he has to be, even though he didn't score a goal, he has to be the star of the game. And of course, Henrik Mkhitaryan, he has been in brilliant form for Roma this season. Going back to his old days, he's kicking in with goals, assists, and also a great comeback season for him this time as well. And Lazio, I mean, they did try, but they were not clinical enough, and in the end, they had to suffer. Even though they're still in pole position to qualify for Europa, it's yeah, it's the local derby, and bragging rights are a big thing. Yeah, over to you, Ray.
Yeah, I'll talk about the next game, Napoli versus Fiorentina, because I watched the highlights of this one. Napoli need to win because
Okay.
that hunt for the top four spots is like extremely tight. Anyone who slips misses out the Juventus. And
Yeah.
like Milan and Napoli are right at that stage. They're like 1 point ahead of Juventus, if I'm not wrong. And like Juventus are right
Yeah.
behind them. They're like touching distance. So anybody who slips, Juventus go up. So Milan is at
Yeah.
risk. Napoli is at risk. So Napoli needed to win that, and they won it. And it was a good game overall for Napoli. And Fiorentina, I'm not saying they're pushovers because they were a big team once upon a time. But yeah, Napoli completely dominated the game. They were taking shots like at every chance they got. Only a few of them were on target though. But yeah, they took a lot of shots, and then it shows in the
Yeah.
scoreline that they completely dominated the game.
One important Milan game is there.
Exactly. Correct.
So I don't know what is happening in Milan. Like Cagliari are a team that is languishing in the bottom of the table. You are supposed to win against them, and they could have they could have closed the deal with this game, and they didn't find a goal. So many shots, so many chances. They just weren't clinical enough. And now we'll see if it comes back and bites them, because the last game is super hard, because they are playing second place Atalanta, who are in beast mode right now, and they are in the cup final. They are like on some steroids or something. They are playing. So we'll see if they play like this against Cagliari. I don't know how they'll do against Atalanta.
And
And
the
I honestly don't want to see them slip up at this point. It's too bad. Yeah.
the thing we have to understand is,
Yeah,
like
continue.
I was saying, Milan is at such a tough spot right now. They have to win, and they were at top of the league for so long at the year, and I think change of the year, and people are like, oh, it's finally AC Milan's time,
Yeah.
but then Inter took over. So they have, if nothing else,
Yeah.
I know that they have not like performed at their best, but they were performing for at least a while ago, and now they're slipping up very badly. And I understand that yeah, Zlatan is not there, but it's not like the team completely relied on Zlatan all the time. Yes, Zlatan was an important factor of their resurgence,
Yeah.
but it's not like they were completely reliant on him. So they should have found a way. And this game was not convincing at all in any format, because let me just pull up the table here to get my facts right. Cagliari is even 16th. I'm so sorry. Cagliari is 16th, 37
Yeah.
points. Milan has 76 points. That's 40 points
Yeah.
more. That's more than double.
Yeah.
And you are playing against a
Yeah.
team like that, and you have tough fixtures next. Like, if they want to keep,
Yeah.
because everyone now, I've seen so many memes of Ronaldo playing in the Europa League after going to Juventus. But if Milan keeps playing like this, it's them who have to play in
Yeah.
the Europa League, and we're going to see Zlatan again in the Europa League. So it's not a good prospect for them, and they have to start bucking up very soon if they have any chance. Yes, Jitu.
Yeah. The same thing only, I think it's very important for them to finish, because otherwise they'll lose many of these players right now. Top clubs will come and snatch and go, and again they have to start rebuilding again, and it's not good. If they qualify for steel, it's a different thing. The players will stay because you're playing in the Champions League. Making players stay is like it's very much influenced by if you're playing Champions League football or European football. It's very important. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums up Syria. It's the three-way battle for the Champions League positions. It could any one of them could drop out as of now. Only Atalanta and Milan have confirmed. So yeah, we'll move on to the Bundesliga. So yeah, the Bundesliga, I think it was relatively calm The first and second are, I think, almost confirmed. It's very less likely that anyone, Bayern and Leipzig will drop down. I guess Bayern already is having sealed the title, and Leipzig are pretty much set to be finishing in second place, despite whatever happens in last match day. So yeah, so an important game that was actually Schalke versus Frankfurt. So Frankfurt had to win this game if they have any chance of going to the next like Champions League, and they lost it. It was a very high scoring game though, 4-3, but I think that pretty much sealed their fate, and they will be playing in the Europa League. And also the fact that Dortmund won against Mainz. Over to you, Elijah. Anything I want?
Yeah, again, I have not watched the games fully. I only watched the Pokal final, and I've watched highlights before recording the podcast because I have to have some context of what I'm talking. And obviously, people might comment and say like, yeah, highlights are
Yeah.
not the whole story. So that's why Jittu talks more about Bundesliga than me. So yeah, Bayern, like we already congratulated them last season, last episode for winning the season again. But then you also have to put into context the second place and the gap between them. This is a 10-point gap. And Leipzig are slipping up again
Yeah.
and again and again for, I don't understand for what reason. Like, it's not like the team is bad. And like they not the midfield,
Yeah.
as far as I've seen, like I watched full replays before I'm making this comment. So, not like I'm not watching the game. I have seen the full replays of the games.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things with
Yeah.
Leipzig is no, their midfield is not able to like
Yeah.
be compact and keep hold of the ball. Like generally nowadays, I think this is a topic for another episode. But I wanted to talk about how either the games like the past maybe 2 3 years, either the games are going to be like super high scoring, or it's going to be like 1-1 or nil on either side. It'll be a draw. Both sides will take tons of shots and no one will score. So either it's going to be like a finishing, what should I say, masterpiece, or it's going to be like a finishing disaster. There's no in between. Like every team is like that, and
Yeah.
I think the core of that comes from the midfield. And I understand that midfields are not what they used to be like maybe 5 6 7 8 years ago, but Leipzig are second in the league and they have climbed up consistently. They should be able to hold their own against. I'm not saying that other teams are smaller or worse, but Leipzig are the number two now. Dortmund has slipped. So and they're not justifying their position in the league at all. Like the games that I watched, two games, the one against Wolfsburg and the one Pokal final also. I watched this one also, the one against Dortmund, the one that they lost.
Yeah, they played Dortmund twice. Yeah,
So
before
in both of
in the
these
league
things,
also.
no, they were not like you have to dominate your midfield to progress the ball forward. Okay, your midfield is not being that
Yeah.
creative, fine. At least your midfield should be able to defend. The only thing that happens is the ball goes right through the midfield. Like that center part of the field is not existent at all. The ball just goes through, and then Upamecano has to run back, clear from there. Upamecano has to run back, clear from there. Like next season is going to go. Who are you going to fall back on? Like that is not how a number two team is
Yeah,
supposed to
so
play. I understand there's a gulf in quality between the top team and you, but even among the midfield, like
yeah,
the second, like the Champions League spot teams, I think over the last maybe 2 3 weeks, Dortmund is proving to be a better team than Leipzig. Like any day, Dortmund has wanted to get into the CL spots no matter what, and they've consistently want to get there. On the other hand, Leipzig have lost two,
yeah.
I think drawn two, and then something like that. So, like
They are horrible. They have the worst record, I think, among the top four teams in the last 4 weeks.
I
Very very bad.
understand that your manager is leaving.
Consistently losing.
I understand that one of your star
Yeah.
players is leaving. Yes, like there will be some problems in the team, some problems with their gelling up and their all of that. But we don't expect such a steep drop off. I know that no matter what they're going to finish in the Champions League spots either way. But like I genuinely don't feel they have earned the second spot. Maybe if Dortmund were a little, even marginally better in the middle of the season, no, Dortmund would have finished second easily. And you could see that very easily in the Pokal final. That like Dortmund were clearly the better team on that day. Like they were clearly the better team, at least
Yeah.
according to me. It may be slightly biased, but they were
Yeah.
clearly the better team. And the other thing is, if Nagelsmann is going to go to Bayern, what is this record to show? Like, what are you going to say? What did you do for the past 10 games before you came here? I have lost 5, I have drawn
Yeah.
3, I have won 2. Like, that's going to be very bad for people to look at. So, maybe at least in the last game day, they
Yeah.
might have to improve so he can finish on a high. But then, all props to Dortmund for finishing the season well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Coming to Dortmund, I'd say, oh my, I don't know how they came back. They were struggling to get into Europa League places at one point. They suffered 10 losses in the league, I think so. I think no team in the top 4, I think, has lost that many games. 10 games they have lost. I think only Frankfurt recently only overtook them. And from that to come back, and now I think they are assured of third place, no matter if they have won the next game. So it's remarkable, and hats off to the management of Edin Terzic, and something which Lucien Favre was lacking. He had lost control of the dressing room, no communication with the players, and Edin Terzic, he is being a Dortmund boy, he knew what to do and he knew how to boost up the players. Not much, the confidence among the players increased significantly, especially that of Jadon Sancho and Marco Reus. They've seen a phenomenal rise over the past 1 month or 1.5 months. They're consistently involved in goals right now, like such a good form. Earlier it was just about Erling Haaland. Now it's different. It's not Erling Haaland. It's these two guys who are scoring, and they've just bounced back. At first, it was last week, I think, the win against Leipzig. Then this match day, the win against Mainz also. Remember, Mainz is not a bad team. See, Mainz is a team that beat Bayern 2 weeks back. So they play very good. They were the giant killers because they've beaten all the teams except Dortmund in the top 7 half of the table. So it was not an easy fixture at all. So Dortmund came there and they just dominated the game. Nothing else to say from that. They just dominated the game, and yeah. And I wish to see all these players in this squad, and I wish to see this style of football from Dortmund. And
Yeah.
next Champions League, I hope they can maintain this, and I hope Royce doesn't get injured. That's all.
The thing that
Yeah.
we also have to give Dortmund props for is their present manager is an interim manager. And I'm not saying this is like Dortmund back to how they were used to playing, but they are definitely on the way because they are playing with more confidence. They are not because who was under Favre, or how you pronounce his name, they were only attacking through the middle. It was like a very
Yeah.
rigid philosophy in which they were playing with like a very unflexible style which doesn't work. And now they seem to be like
Yeah.
more confident, more creative, and all of that. And Sancho is back to being at his, not like maybe not his best, but definitely he's improving a lot since the start of the season when he was experiencing that horrible slump. And like
Yeah.
definitely credits for them because they needed to win and they kept consistently providing, and they also won the Pokal, which is great.
Yeah.
But there's one other team that I definitely have to talk about. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. I had very high hopes for this team called Leverkusen. Where the hell are these guys? What on earth are they doing? They kept drawing throughout for like so many games. Then they lost in between, and then they're like, we'll draw. Then they lost again, and they're drawing again. They went like, I was completely sure they would finish at least in the top 4. They're not even a Europa League spots now. I like, I understand that, yeah, Havertz is
Yeah,
not there,
they're
so
in sixth. Yeah, okay. So Leverkusen, I don't know. You have a saying in Germany, Leverkusen will Leverkusen or something like that. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Leverkusen are not destined to win any title at all, and it's like they're just justifying it. You want to see the what you call the German version of Tottenham, you look at Leverkusen. Leverkusen is the German version of Tottenham FC. It's even worse. They are the, I don't know how they consistently manage to do it. They're in a prime position. They are sometimes even favorites, and they just bottle it. They were, remember, this was a team that was top of the Bundesliga during the halfway point. They were above Bayern in the Bundesliga, and they were so dominant they were playing, and now they are in sixth. And I don't think they can. The Champions League is out now. All they can do is hold on to the Europa League spots, and As of now, they are in sixth position, and yeah, same goes to another good team that was actually playing very good football, Mönchengladbach. They're also struggling. Lots of draws, unnecessary losses. Mönchengladbach will go beat a big team, they'll lose to a small team. That's the problem with them. And yeah, that has been their season, both for Leverkusen and Mönchengladbach. Underwhelming in terms of the second half of the season. Yeah, so
Are we
next,
moving on to the next league?
do you have anything? We'll just discuss a small record that has been made in the Bundesliga.
Small record, it
Not a
seems.
very
Yes, of
important
course.
game though. Yeah, it's not a big thing. Sorry, not a big game, but yeah, the record was phenomenal, and Bayern did end up drawing 2-2 to Freiburg, but Robert Lewandowski, he does it again. 40 goals in the league, a record that almost stood 50 years, and it's been a long time, and even the guy who scored the record will never know that his record is being equal, because it's very sad to say, but if any of you don't know, Gerd Muller is suffering from dementia right now, and he has been out of football, and he's been in his home, I think, since the last 3 years. So that is a sad part of this, and yeah. And it's good to see Lewandowski giving a tribute to Gerd Muller after he scored the goal, and yeah. And it has not been a small thing also. See, Muller took 34 games to achieve the record. Lewandowski, despite, see, many people thought he wouldn't be do it because he missed 4 games straight without because of his injury, and obviously the Champions League also. And people thought maybe not again. He's just unlucky, but he stepped up. He stepped up big time. I think a hat trick in the last game really boosted his hopes, and now he's done it. So hats off to him. And yeah.
Yeah, if the Ballon d'Or is still on, which most likely it is, he's definitely going to win. They robbed him last year. So, yes. What was I saying?
Yeah,
To put Lewandowski's achievement into perspective, he scored 40 goals in what, 28 games, 26 games? What is that? 26, no?
28 games. 28
28 games. Messi at his maximum, I think he scored like 50 goals or something. But like when he generally, on average, if he scores 40 goals and all, it takes him the full season to do that. Lewandowski has missed matches, and in 28, he scored 40 goals. For anybody who plays any sort of football, even if you play it in your gully, you know how difficult it is to finish, let alone at the highest level.
Yeah.
And like, if he broke such a big record that has been standing for I don't know how many years after being injured and coming back, because everyone, when they come back, they take some time to again reach their peak. This guy played like he was never out only. He is like, I've been training my whole life for this, so I should be, and then he did. So salute, because that is something that cannot be taken lightly. And if we get a vote, one day we will become a big enough YouTube channel where we can vote for the Ballon d'Or, and we'll definitely vote for people like Lewandowski, and he deserves to definitely win this.
That pretty much sums up Bundesliga, and obviously RB Leipzig. I think we mentioned their draw against Wolfsburg, and not a pretty significant, but significant for Wolfsburg because they are in the Champions League right now, and we'll just quickly go through that. That's I don't think we have a